Hey everybody, this is Rainbow Reviews. Today I'm reviewing a movie called Phantom of the Megaplex. This movie is also a movie on Disney Plus, and I didn't actually know this before I went into it, but it's one of those Disney Channel original movies. I was never a big fan of these. I don't think I've seen any of them all the way through, and if I did, I would not remember it at all. Just not a big fan. But I was still willing to give it a chance. It came out in the year 2000, and you can definitely tell because a little bit of this is dated, especially now that movie theaters might be going out of business, might be replaced by streaming soon. So, yeah, it's a little dated, but that's alright. I was still willing to give this a chance. So, I skipped through most of this movie actually because like 65% of this movie is just stuff going wrong. And I work at a movie theater actually currently, so it's a little too real for me. I did not expect that from this movie, but yeah, it's if you work at a movie theater, you'll know what I'm talking about if you watch this movie. So the story. I'm going to recap the story real quick. So the story goes is a big movie is coming to a megaplex in a small town and the red carpet premiere has to go perfect. Right before the premiere, the general manager gets fired for like no reason. I think it's because they want to replace him with his CEO's son. Yeah, so the CEO's son would be the new GM. And in the midst of all this, our protagonist, which is, I don't remember his name, he's basically like your cool, relatable teen. He's the assistant manager. And he wants to impress a girl because, we have to have a B plot. Before the premiere, though, things start going wrong because of a phantom, quote unquote, tampering with the equipment. And the protagonists have to catch the phantom before the premiere. So this story, I mean, it's pretty creative, It's probably one of the more creative movies that I have reviewed. It's like Phantom of the Opera, but instead it takes place at a movie theater. So for story and originality, I'd say this gets a pass. This is pretty good, pretty original, and the story is alright. Now, I'm going to go over the visual effects. The visual effects in this movie, there aren't really that many visual effects. There's this one scene where everybody is in a theater and they're stuck in their seats because there's a big fan turned on in front of them. It's like supposed to resemble like a tornado in the theater, but it's literally just like a big fan and none of them can get out of their seats because of the wind, I guess. Like that's kind of the level we're on with a lot of this movie. Like it's really like ridiculous physics. It's stuff that doesn't make sense. So the visual effects or just the effects in general, the stuff they try to pass off is real. It doesn't work. There's not a lot of effects and when you do have them, they kind of suck. So you failed in the visual effects category. I'll try again next time. But the characters. I actually do have a lot more to say about the characters this time. I do remember more than one of their names, but probably for the wrong reasons. It's because they're weird characters. But anyway, here's the characters. They have like a sequence at the beginning where they say everybody's names, and the only one I remember from that is there's a character named Scary Terry. Yeah, anybody out there who's watched Rick and Morty, they know that name. That was just weird, and that was the only reason I actually remember this character. I don't even think I remember what they look like. I just remember the name. But yeah, there's a character named Scary Terry, and they never even like say their name in the movie. But then after that, you obviously have the teen boy protagonist, and he's your stereotypical like teen in high school who's falling for a girl and trying to impress her, whatever. But they did actually have a bit of a spin on this trope of a character. In this movie, his character arc is that he's overworking himself too much and he's not actually living his life. He's just working at this movie theater. That's why he's the assistant manager, because he works like so many hours at this movie theater. Which, I mean, I guess that's an original spin on this character and it makes him a lot more likable. So that's actually pretty good. The two next characters is the mom character and the boyfriend character, because the dad is either dead or missing, like a lot of these Disney Channel movies have. So the mother and the boyfriend, they're barely relevant. They're really not even worth talking about. They don't really do anything like specific. They get stuck in their car and can't go anywhere for like most of the movie. So that's about the level we're on with those characters. They're not relevant at all. Then you have these two kids. They're really just annoying, and I don't know why, but the movie focuses on them so much. They're not that bad at acting, honestly. They're just okay. But I don't know why the movie chooses to focus on them more than on the teen boy protagonist. This is not just me like being biased about who the movie should focus on, but they're really not important at all. Or the movie tries to milk them for more importance than they're worth. I guess what I'm trying to say here. And they're also like a little bit of meta. Even like the younger son, he's really meta. He talks about like the movie's like plot and how this person being the character would make narrative sense. It's really bizarre, but I guess it is original for like this kind of character to be the meta one. This is no Deadpool. It's just like a 5-year-old kid. Okay, he's like 10, but still. I mean, they're not really that interesting other than that they're meta. But there was this one scene that I swear to God, I'm convinced that it was like on accident or they didn't tell the kid that it was going to happen because the reaction was so genuine. Like there's this scene where this kid runs, he tries to run through this door frame, but there's this giant balloon thing, like blow up thing, like blocking the door, and he runs into it and legitimately like falls over. And it's just so sudden, and the editing makes it like you're following this kid, the camera is, and he turns the corner and just runs into this giant balloon. And I so was not expecting it, and it was the only time that I laughed out loud during this movie. It was just so funny. That was the only thing I remember about like these kids. Then there was this like random old guy in the movie they called Movie Mason. He basically only speaks in movie quotes, and he's almost like a robot. I don't know what it is about this guy. It's really weird. He just reminds me of like a robot that only speaks in movie quotes. But yeah, and then there's the general manager, the one that got fired. And you can probably see where I'm going with this. Spoiler alert, he's the twist villain because he got fired. He's the Phantom of the Megaplex, I guess. He looks like an off-brand Mark Zuckerberg. I'm sorry, dude, you just do. That's the only thing I could think of during this movie. So he's Mark Zuckerberg, but without the money. But, like, the foreshadowing for this twist, there was a part that it did make sense. The foreshadowing made sense. So there's a point in the movie where Sean, the general manager, the twist villain, says, "Hey, protagonist, I think it's Movie Mason that is our Phantom because I told him off earlier about something." And like going back, yeah, okay, so I guess that was foreshadowing because he was trying to throw you off the scent that he was actually the Phantom, I guess. But then there's certain points in the movie where the kids find him like tied up or like hung on a door frame, and he's like bound and gagged. And so like they're trying to pass this off at the end like, oh, he did that himself. Like, no. Someone literally duct taped him to the door, and the movie is trying to say that he did this himself. No, obviously he didn't. That just doesn't make any sense to me. But other than that, it's whatever. But him tying himself up just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And believe it or not, this is like the Infinity War of this movie. Like there's like 20 more characters, and they don't do anything. They introduce them at the beginning, but they really serve like no purpose at all. They literally do nothing. So yeah, those were the characters. The writing and acting, Disney Channel original movie. Obviously, a lot of the writing is going to be cheesy. The acting, it's a lot of child actors. Most of them are child actors. So it's a Disney Channel original movie. I mean, what else can you expect, really? And then I already said that originality. This movie was pretty original. It's alright. Now, as far as a rating for this movie goes, I'm just going to give it a deadpan 5. I mean, it's right in the middle of the list. It's nothing too spectacular, but it's nothing like really bad either. I wouldn't watch it again. Like I said, I already skipped through most of this movie because 65% of it is just stuff going wrong in a movie theater. But if you're into that, then whatever, you can watch it. For a tier list rating, I'm going to give it a C. Again, middle of the road. Would not go back to this movie. That's it. It's just middle of the road. So yeah, that was a review of Phantom of the Megaplex. It's a Disney Channel original movie. Came out in the year 2000. It's on Disney Plus, so that should give you an idea of what it is, really. So if you want to watch this movie for yourself, then go do that. I don't know what else to say. Just go do that. Yeah, so comment below what you want me to review next. Thanks for watching.